Hello, welcome back to Football-Oranje, your home of Dutch football. Happy New Year, 2024 is here. I'm Michael Statham. I'm joined by Abdul. Today we're going to be ranking Netherlands players ahead of the Euros, which is later this year. We're looking forward to a great year, aren't we, Abdul, in terms of Dutch football?
Yes, first I'd like to say Happy New Year to everybody uh, around the world, and of course, especially to Oranje fans around the world. And hopefully, we will have a good year for the Dutch national team in the Euro and for the three Dutch clubs we have left in the European competitions.
So we're going to get stuck in then. What we're going to do is rank all of the players that have been in consideration for the Netherlands for quite a while. You can see some on screen now, perhaps the goalkeepers and defenders, but the list does go quite far down. Without counting, I guess there's around 50 players here. Of course, going to the Euros, about 23 players will be going. So some selections have to be made by Ronald Koeman. But us as fans, we're going to give it a go. Of course, get involved in the comments. Tell me how much you agree or disagree with us. And let us know. We did this 3.5 years ago out of interest. And there were some interesting selections that I made at the time. We had a similar kind of categories. Here we've got key player, starting 11, alternative option, backup or future talent, put those together, and drop. Drop simply means not in consideration for this Euros tournament, and Abd and I will have some interesting selections there, I'm sure. So when I did this 3.5 years ago, in like the starting 11 category, I put in Martin de Roon, Blint, Sillerson, Wijnaldum, and Van der Beek. There were some players as well that are now a starting 11 players for the team. But I just thought those choices were really interesting. That time has now moved on. So we definitely need to do this again, where players have moved on, got older, or even got better. For example, in the backup option last time, I put in Dumfries and Ake. That's obviously changed. And for future stars were Cody Gakpo and Calvin Stengs. Some like good predictions from me there. But then I also put in Ihatardon, and his career's gone down the toilet. So you can see that lots of different players have gone different ways. So without further ado, Abdul, let's start with the goalkeepers. And a really interesting one, Bart Verbruggen, who's playing for Brighton on and off. He's rotated as a goalkeeper, but he is like a first choice goalkeeper there. And for me, he's a starting 11 goalkeeper at the moment, isn't he? But I just don't think until he develops, he's not like the number one choice for me.
Yes, he is not the number one choice. He's only 21 years old. I think he lacks the experience, although he plays for the Premier League. But he is definitely. I should definitely select him. I would select him definitely. So he will be one of the main three goalkeepers that will travel to Germany. Yep.
But then where would you put him in here? Where would you slot him in? Do you think he's the alternative option because you might have another goalkeeper in mind, or is he the starting 11 goalkeeper for now and you're confident in that?
I think he's the third goalkeeper.
Okay. Well, I'm going to kind of agree with you. And I think he's a second choice at the moment. For me, personally, I do think I'd have a first choice. So I'll put him in alternative option, and I'll be interested straight away. People get into the comments going, actually, I think Verbruggen would be the first choice goalkeeper. I think it's a great option. We've interviewed him on the YouTube channel. So go and check it out if you haven't already. He's a really good guy. There's a Brighton teammate of his as well in here somewhere. We'll talk about him later. But yep, a good one to get started off with. Now, Nick Olai is the next goalkeeper, Abdul. Does he go to the Euros?
In my opinion,
goalkeeper.
No, in my opinion, no. He's 28 years old, and he doesn't really play for a big team. He definitely.
Matter?
So he plays for Sparta, right? Sparta Rotterdam. Yeah, and he's 28 years old, so I would not really select him.
I mean, looking at the next goalkeeper along that line there, Andries Noppert, playing for Heerenveen, was at the World Cup, was a hero. You think that Olai shouldn't be selected because of his club, even though Noppert was our first choice back at the World Cup?
Noppert was a selection of Van Gaal. Van Gaal usually makes crazy selections, and they usually work. Yeah, so I don't think the case will work here too. I would not really pick him.
Okay, so would you go drop or backup?
No, I will go for drop.
Okay, I'll put him in there for now. But you know, I'm feeling more. He's like backup. Is a good option. No, I'm going to put him in backup, and we'll see where the other goalkeepers go. I think like if there's an injury to the three goalkeepers, I think he's in there and as a fourth choice.
Yes, I agree with you. He's the fourth choice, indeed. Yes.
Yeah. And then that brings us on to Noppert. And would you agree with me that he needs to go into drop now that confidence has dropped? Isn't quite as strong this season?
Yeah, his level dropped big time
Mm.
after the World Cup. He's not the same Noppert we knew in the World Cup. So I would drop him, yes.
Sure. Let's do that. Next one is Justin Bilo, the final goalkeeper. And well, he is someone I think should be the first choice goalkeeper. However, you've got to say that he's not been able to be injury free, be at his best for like a good 20, 30 games. Where do you sit on him?
I think he's our first choice, really. He's my
Mm.
favorite goalkeeper for Orania. I've seen him in the Eredivisie. He's been doing great in the Champions League. Although Feyenoord lost four consecutive matches, but it wasn't really his fault. I think he did
Mm-hmm.
really great in the Champions League. I would definitely go for Bailo as our main option, really, and
So
first
starting
choice.
11.
Yes, definitely, in my opinion.
Sure. I'm just gonna make it so that you can see more of the players on the screen,
Yeah.
and let's pop him straight into there. The next one is Mark Flecken. So I wonder where you sit on him. He's a Brentford goalkeeper. I think he's been error prone this season, and he could be a backup option, maybe one of the three goalkeepers that goes, but he's no longer my first choice.
Well, in my opinion, he's my second choice.
Mm,
In my opinion, Bailo, and then Flecken, then Verbrochen. These are the three goalkeepers I would take to Euro, really.
okay, I put him in alternative option, but for me, I disagree, and I think that Verbruggen is I favour him over Flecken at the moment. Of course,
Okay.
Euros is in June, isn't it? Like we're talking now in January.
Yeah.
Things can change. Jasper Cillessen, drop.
Oh, definitely, yes.
Okay, that was a bit easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a shame he hasn't quite had the same form, has he? As he once had. Next, then we're on to defenders. Jordan Taser, does he get into the squad for you?
Well, the thing is, we have so many good defenders, and I
Mm,
don't really see a place for him. Although he's been convincing in many matches for PSV, really, he does make some mistakes, but he definitely deserves a call up in the future. Maybe I don't think we
mm.
should take him to Euro this year. We have so many defenders, so I would say maybe backup or a future talent, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think I'll put him in there as well. He's been great for PSV when he's been able to play. First choice right back, makes a back three if the left back goes flying forwards. He's really worked on that side of his game, but yeah, not quite at national team level yet.
Yeah.
Whether he maybe stops in at centre back in future or he plays right back for a bigger club, that might help him to get in there because the Netherlands is full of like brilliant defenders. We've talked about it on here for years, and for people that aren't so aware, like you wouldn't expect that, would you? That there are always forward options of the past. These brilliant players that have played for the national team, Johan Cruyff, Mark van Basten, Ruud Nistelrooy, just reeling them off. Bergkamp. You don't think they're known for centre backs and defenders, but most of the players I've been had to put in here, not most, but a larger selection than you would expect are defenders because of their
Yes.
just an embarrassment of riches in those positions.
Yes. Yes. I totally agree with you.
So Stefan de Vrij then, they're in no particular order of these defenders. They could be fullback or centre back. I
Yes.
really like de Vrij. I want to put him in starting 11, and that's one of the key positions that I don't think has been fully decided by maybe fans, but also Koeman as well. It could change, but I just really want his experience in there, in that back three, back five, whatever you want to call that.
Oh, I definitely would want to see De Vrij with the traveling team to Germany.
Mm.
We've seen him with Koeman when we had so many injuries in the defense, and he was amazing, really. Very sharp, very strong. I think he developed a lot in Italy. So I would pick him definitely, but I don't know if I should pick him as a key player or starting 11.
Wow.
Can you help me with that? What would you say?
Well, I put him in starting 11 because I was mulling between starting 11 and alternative option because he might not be a starting centre back because of the amount of great centre backs that the Netherlands have. But this is one of the
Okay,
first ones where I feel like let's have a middle ground on it. And he goes into the starting 11.
okay then. It's fine. We can take him to the starting 11.
Virgil van Dijk, is he still a key player?
Yes, in my opinion, he is still a key player, especially this season. I think he's really back. After the injury, he declined a little, but now he's really
Yeah.
back to his level. So yes,
Okay. Yeah, I put him in there back into 2020 as well. When I last did this video, he was one of the 4 players I popped in there.
yeah.
Key player. So Van Hecker is the next one. The Brighton centre back. He's yet to win a call-up or a Netherlands cap, but that could be about to change. There are a few other defenders that haven't won caps yet, but I think that he's
Um,
on an upward trajectory. And for me, he might well be going to the Euros, but that's a bit of like a left field shout. Do you agree with me, Abdul? Maybe not.
I don't think he should go to Europe again. In
Mm.
this position, we have so many defenders, so I would drop him, in my opinion.
Should we come back to him?
So you're talking about a backup or a future
No, like, should
talent?
we come back to him? Should we do a few more defenders and come back?
Okay, let's see that. Let's
Because we
do
can't
that.
have
It's
too many
fine.
players, can we? We've got to drop a few if it gets down to it. If we don't have 23, then
Okay, all right, it's
um,
fine.
yeah. What about Hartman then? Is he the starting 11 left back for you?
Yes, he's the main player as a left back
Yeah,
nowadays. He's actually the best option, so he is a key player definitely.
I'll put him in starting 11. He has been great for Feyenoord. He looks like he's played quite a few games in the first half of this season. He could do with that winter break rest, and hopefully he doesn't get overplayed by Feyenoord in the second half of the campaign because he needs to be ready for the Euros. Quite a
Yes.
good position to get right. The next one is Yoa Hato, 17 years old, but he was put in as a left-sided centre back in the last squad. That does help him perhaps get selected. Where would you fit him in here? Does he go to the Euros?
No, I think he's a future talent. He's too young, and we
Okay.
do have many experienced players in his position.
Yeah, it's such a big tournament. I am happy to agree with you there.
Yeah.
So, how about Jurrien Timber, who's been injured with Arsenal? We don't know when he'll be back yet, but does he still get to the Euros if he makes it fit?
Well, if he's back in March or April, he will have 2 months to come back, to make a comeback.
Mhm.
If he comes back with his level, I think he will be a very important player. But so far, we have no news about him at all. So I don't really know. What do you think, Michael?
I think that he's not quite going to be ready. Or if he is, why would you select a player that's had like 5 games, let's say? Because he might be up start by having some substitute appearances. If he starts 5 games for the end of the season, why does that warrant him a position over someone like even Van Hecker, who would have played the whole season and have been amazing? I think that for now, I mean, if I did this video in about a year's time, I think Timber goes back into that starting 11, which he had under Van Gaal. But I'm going to put him as a backup just because he will be a backup if we need him for this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, Arsenal is competing on the highest level. They are also in the Champions League, so he might do have a chance to play many matches, not only 4 or 5. If he comes back on April, for
Mm.
example. So yeah, let's put him as a backup. Yep, I agree with
Yeah.
you on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And people might disagree, but I think just because of his fitness, that's why he's there. How about Rick Karsdorp, an alternative right back option, backup, or not worthy of being selected?
No, I don't think he should be selected for Orania. He's out of Koeman's plans anyway. So
Mm.
I think we do have much better options. I think we will come to them. So no, definitely no Karstorp.
Okay.
Do you agree with
Um,
me?
yeah, I think so. Like he would be third choice right back, wouldn't he? So he's not really going to be. It might be even fourth choice right back. How
Yeah.
about Mickey van der Ven then? He's been great for Spurs. Again, another player. We've got an interview with him on the website back from when he was with Volendam years ago. Such a driven character, and I'm really pleased that he's already getting selected for the Netherlands. But I think
Yes.
because of the riches we have in that position, I don't think he starts at the Euros. But is he a backup? Is he an alternative option that goes along on the plane?
At the moment, I would say alternative option.
Okay. Yeah, he's got another half of the season yet to really stake a claim to be one of the
Yes.
main options. How about Teta then, the right back at Fulham?
He's not really an option. I already have 2 players in that position. I don't think we need him really,
Drop.
unless you. You disagree with me? Yeah, I think he should be dropped, really.
Yeah, I agree. Denzel Dumfries then. Is he a
Definitely.
key player or starting 11? How does he fit in for you?
I see him as a key player. Koeman depends
Yeah.
on him a lot, so he definitely is a key player. Even Van Gaal depended on him a lot in the World Cup. So
No, I agree with you there. He's been great for years, hasn't he? And he's had a couple of off games. People have criticised him in some of our live streams after the Netherlands games. But yeah, no, key player. He's flying up and down that right side. A key player in the 5-3-2 system. In a back four, it's a little bit different, but you get the best out of him in this formation. We have here Trauder next. He plays centre back, right back for Feyenoord. He had a couple of off games final in the Champions League. Made a mistake when he played for the Netherlands, so he's gone down in my estimations.
even with Feyenoord, he made many mistakes actually, and he's kind of responsible for the last defeats in the Champions League. I would say backup, maybe. I would not
Yeah,
drop him. I would say backup. Yeah.
yeah, I agree with you. And how about Frimpong, people's
Oh,
favourite Netherlands player?
oh yeah, yeah. I would love to see him in the starting 11. Really, I would say starting 11.
But
You
how
might
if
see
you've
him
got
as an
Dumfries and Hartman?
uh, well, maybe he's the second choice after Dumfries.
Yeah, I think he goes to the Euros, but maybe as an alternative option.
Yeah, I would say so. Yes, yes, you're right. You're right. Yeah,
And then the next one, which you could say is, how certain are you of this? Nathan Ake, who has been excellent for the Netherlands, playing for Man City, is he a key player starting 11, or do you think there's a
Def-
better option at centre back?
definitely as a key player, in my opinion. Nathan
Okay,
Ake proved himself in every match he played for Man City or for Oranje, so he definitely is a key player.
let's do it. Into key player, Mike as well, who of course people know, he comes on our show. Like he's sure that Ake could play at left back in the 5-3-2 system. I'm less
Yeah.
sure of that. How do you feel about that, Abdul?
As a left back, well, I would love to see him as a central defender with Van Dijk. Really, I think Hartman can be much better as a left back.
I think it depends whether it's a 5 or a 4. And if you play with a 4, Ake can play at left back. But if you play with a 5, and I don't think Ake can play at left wing back.
Yeah, well, with 4-3-3, it's different. Yes, he could
Yeah.
be as a left back. Yeah, I agree with you on that. Yes.
Okay. So we've got a very few defenders left now. The next one, again, everyone's maybe second favorite Netherlands player. No, I'm joking. Daley Blind. Still finding a way into squads. Does he go to the Euros? Like, this
Oh,
is
I
our
think
opinion. We're not Ronald Koeman. So what do you want to do with him?
Koeman will select him, of course, but I would not see him as a key player or as a starting 11. Maybe as an alternative option.
And I'm going to agree with that. I was going to put him in backup. He might be able to go and be the DJ or something in the dressing room, but
Okay, backup. Backup could also be a good place for him. Yes.
because yeah, okay, let's put him in there because he's got the experience and all that. Like, he is a backup option for me. That only if players are missing and you really need him in there. Maybe Frankie's not there and he needs the passing ability. But
Yes.
in terms of being like, if you've got Vicky van der Ven, you're not going to put Daley Blind at centre back now when Ake is going to be in there, and then Van der Ven as second choice, maybe even De Vrij filling in there. I don't see how Blind should be ahead of those. So yeah, backup. That brings us on to Matthijs de Ligt. But from what we've said so far, he doesn't have a spot in those back three centre back options because we've picked Van Dijk, Ake, and De Vrij as at back three. So de Ligt, who we thought would be the starting centre back for like forever, he now doesn't have a starting spot, does he?
No.
But he
I would.
as an alternative option.
Yeah, I would say alternative option. If somebody gets injured, he will be selected definitely. He's not a starter definitely.
Yeah, because of all the options we have. So next is Sven Botman. Mike likes to say that he should be selected, maybe even start games for Netherlands. He's had a couple of sloppy games for Newcastle recently, but on the whole has been imperious for a club that's challenging for Europe in the Premier League. Where does he sit with you?
In my opinion, he would be a starting 11.
Wow. But then over who? Because you've already got your 5 defenders selected?
The defenders we have now are Van Dijk, Nathan Ake, De Vrij, right? Okay. Well, no, then I will go for alternative option. Yeah.
For me, he sits in backup, but I'm happy to agree with you that he's strong enough to be selected should we need him. So, but then actually, coming back to Van Hecke, I've just put him back. You've got Van Hecke and Botman. Van Hecke's playing for Brighton, Botman for Newcastle. Botman's got the physical strength, but Van Hecke for me has shown the intelligence, consistency that I would select him over Botman at the moment to go to the Euros. But I think you're the other way around, Abdul.
Yeah, I think Botman is more convincing, and Van de Hecken, I think he should be dropped really for now. I don't even see him as a backup. We have so many defenders.
Okay, I'll go with the middle ground. I'm going to put Van Hecke in backup. All future talent, remember? So, I think it could be one for the future. He's 22, I think.
He's 22 years old, yes. Yes, yeah, you're right.
And I'll put Botman in an alternative option then.
Okay, that's fine.
At the minute, then, that means Botman's going to the Euros. We'll count the amount of defenders we've got at the end, and we'll see quite how many we've got. If we've got too many, we might have to drop one or two. Next one is Ian Martin. Chelsea left back, left winger. He was selected recently in 2023. But do you think we should drop him, Abdul?
I think he's a future talent. He's only 21. Yeah, so we should give him some time. Yeah.
Sure. Backup then, okay. Or future talent, rather.
Do you agree with me on that?
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess because that means I'm not dropping him altogether. I'm saying that maybe in the future he could be someone we consider. Rather than... Exactly. I mean, for example, I can see David Klaassen on the screen right now, and I want to put him straight into drop. Should we just get on with that straight away?
Yeah, please. Drop him right away. Okay.
There we are, done. So it's players like that I think we shouldn't be considering really for the Euros, whereas Martin, yes, he could be a future talent and get in there. How about Malacia then? He's next on screen. Left back option, Manchester United. Did okay when he was playing, but then has been injured now for a little bit and won't be back for another couple of months still.
We already have Hartman there. We have also Nathan Ake if we need him to play in that position. So I don't think we need him at all. Plus, he's injured. We don't know how he's going to be like in a team that the entire team actually is just struggling a lot lately, Man United. So, yeah, I would not really pick him. I think he should be dropped for now. Okay,
let's do that. And finally, we've reached the end of the goalkeepers and defenders. So at a halfway point, if you like, we've got 3, 6, 12 players definitely going to the Euros in our opinion so far. We'll come back to that at the end, of course, and see what happens there. And going on to midfielders, there are some options that have been selected again in 2023. Some with the future in mind, some maybe that we now need to drop. So the first one's Wijnaldum, who was so key under Koeman in the past.
Thank you, Wijnaldum, for everything. Yeah. Thank you, Wijnaldum, for everything you did for Oranje. It's time to retire.
Okay, I would take that as a drop.
Yeah.
How about Mats Wife then, Feyenoord?
I would see him in the starting 11, really. Maybe you disagree with me, but I do see him in the starting 11.
I disagree because there is a player that I can see on screen coming up, Tijani Reinders. At the moment, I want him, the AC Milan midfielder, I want him next to Frenkie de Jong. No spoilers there, of course, that I would put Frenkie de Jong in my starting 11. So Mats Wife for me is an alternative option. And if Reinders isn't fit, then yeah.
Wife, yeah, it's fine. I agree with you now. Yes. You're right. Okay.
I've got Matou Siva on screen next, who was a Groningen midfielder for years. He's now in France playing for Rennes. He could be someone who gets a cap at some point this year, maybe after the Euros. But for me right now, he's in consideration for the Euros. But he's someone on the radar.
I would say future talent.
Let's do that then.
Yeah, backup or future talent. I don't see him playing for Oranje this coming Euro.
But a defensive midfielder that could add some bite that we've maybe not seen since Nigel de Jong. And in future, yeah, maybe he could be invited in. Tijani Reinders.
A key player, definitely.
Key player. I'm going to go starting 11 for me.
It's fine. Either way, it's fine.
Because he's only just just started getting to our minds as that starting midfielder, and we're yet to see him really with Frankie de Jong. So I don't know how key he is yet, but next to de Jong, maybe they could be a great partnership, or maybe it might not work. We haven't seen it enough to
They
say that he's
really
a
have
key
to work
player.
together because they are
Yeah.
both the best midfielders we have nowadays. But starting 11 is fine for me. Yeah.
And they do different things. Like I'm so excited to see Frankie, who can be a bit deeper, but passing. And Reinders can carry the ball. He's got a shot on him, athletic. Like that is the great balance to go with De Jong rather than someone like De Roon, who we got coming up. And
Yes.
I just don't. He's like really defensive, gets tackles in fine, but doesn't do enough for over a full 90 minutes.
Okay.
How about Quentin Timber then? The other brother of
Oh,
Jurgen Timber.
I've always been a fan of Quentin Timber with Feyenoord, really. But I
Should he go
have
to
to
the
be,
Euros?
yeah, exactly. I have to be realistic. He's not a key player nowadays. He's not a starting 11.
No.
I would say maybe, I would say alternative option, maybe,
So you
if we
think
have injury or something.
so? If the Euros were tomorrow, would you put him on the plane?
Oh, that's okay. You got me here. No, I would say a backup maybe because we do
Would
have
you?
so many other midfielders. So
Okay,
I
I'll put
would say a
backup.
backup. Yeah.
Sure, let's do that for the minute because then I suppose we don't have enough players. We can promote one or two.
Yeah. Okay.
Next one is Kenneth Taylor. I want to put him in drop.
Yes, me too. Please.
Someone who's improving with Ajax for sure. But he's not going to be in consideration for this Euros. Could be a future talent. But I don't know. He needs to really up his game one or two notches to be in that consideration. How about Yildiz Schouten, who's playing for PSV, a new midfielder for them, got them moved from Italy, and is now being considered by Koeman. Bit lazy there for Koeman, I suspect, but Schouten now is really quite pleasing on the eye, quite a great midfielder to watch with PSV. Does he go to the Euros?
I think he's a backup, really. He's 26 years
Mm.
old, so I'm not going to say a future talent,
Mm.
but I would say a backup because we do have some good midfielders. But to be honest, I'm between alternative option and backup. I don't know which one of the two. If you can
I
help me
guess
with
that
that.
means I can kind of decide then. I want to put him in alternative option. Remember Van Gaal talking about how if he's like Frankie de Jong, but not as like world class as Frankie de Jong. I can't remember the exact words of what he said, but I think that he's capable and can play for the Netherlands if we need him. But he's nowhere near that starting 11 at the moment. But I like his game and think he could bring a lot. But I wonder if it's like Quentin Timber actually. Like, could he be someone who's on the fringes and maybe make it to go to the Euros? I'll put him in backup for now. And same again, if there's another position we can fill, we take him.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, another one. Like this is going to be tricky. Like all of them, like the same kind of category for me here. Like Joey Veerman, Mike will definitely take him. I do like him.
Uh, I
Injustice
would.
PSV got all the stats, doesn't he? Like he's got great stats. PSV creativity, assists, goals, even.
Yes.
Does
Yes.
he go to the Euros?
I would take him definitely, and he is really an option for the starting 11 for me, to be honest. You might
Okay.
disagree with me, but I see him as one in the starting 11. He's a creator. You know, we need somebody who creates chances. So I
So I
don't know. Will
think,
you? Yeah, tell me.
yeah, well, but I put him an alternative option. I think he should go to the Euros in the squad. I don't think really he's the answer next to Frankie de Jong, but actually, this is where I see him as the alternative to Frankie if he's injured or if the Netherlands have topped the group after 2 games and you've got a third game, you need to rest players, that kind of thing. So that could work. And yeah, I really like him at PSV. It's a different game there, though, of course. And if he played in the Premier League, would he get on quite as well? Obviously, he doesn't have the same a number of stats, but would he be as highly praised? We'd have to see. Maybe one day he'll make a move to the top of Italy, say, and prove me wrong again that he can do it at that level. I do really like
Did
him though in
well.
the Eredivisie. Great player.
He did well in the Champions League as well.
Yeah,
He
no,
played in
that's
higher
fair.
level, and he was good. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What about Cope Miners then?
Well, that's why I was confused with Schouten because I remember we had Coop Miners. Coop Miners is definitely an alternative option. I think Koeman is going to take him.
Okay, I agree with you too, and I've liked him over the years. Sometimes he's had some off games over the Netherlands. That's made me a bit worried, but at club level, a solid player. Jordi Classie's next. Does he come into consideration for you?
No, I think he should be dropped. Really, not even a
Yeah.
backup.
There's also some talks about that, like he refused the last few call-ups, and now that's it for him with the Netherlands. He wants to concentrate on his club career at RZ. Frank de Jong, key
A
player,
key
right?
player,
Oh, that was
definitely.
easy.
The best midfielder we have, and one of the best midfielders in the world nowadays. So,
One of the best midfielders to have played for the Netherlands in their history.
oh yes, yes.
I don't think that's controversial to say at all. What about Gravenberch, who's getting some games to Liverpool?
Well, he is developing. He's been having more minutes to play for Liverpool. I would definitely take him as an alternative option for now.
For me, I think he's in the same category as Soughton, as Quentin Timber, and if there's a space, we take him. But in the future, because I always think he's a future talent, in the future, he could be someone that is that player next to De Jong if Reinders doesn't keep his form up and Gravenberch keeps improving. But for now, I don't think he's in the consideration for the Euros. And if he is, he's like a last minute thing. So I want to put him in backup.
Oh, you say, okay, you want him as a backup. Okay, well, he's
Yeah,
21 years old, so it's fine
exactly.
if
He
you,
has so
yeah,
much more time, doesn't he?
yeah, exactly. Okay, okay, you have a
I
point.
think I need to zoom out, don't I? Because you can't quite see their heads now.
No, but it's fine. It's okay.
Maybe you could just see their heads poking out the top.
Yeah.
So the next player is Martin Dedone. Where do you sit with him?
I'm not a fan of him, you know. I don't really
Mm.
think he should be selected, but we both know that Koeman most likely will select him.
Yeah.
So is it based on my opinion or Koeman's opinion? that's
Oh, it's
that's
our opinion, mate. It's our opinion.
well, if it's our opinion, I would say alternative option, or maybe no, sorry, I will say backup.
Yeah, I also want to put him in backup.
Yeah.
As a guy, he's really funny. Like, is an interesting character. Footballing wise, he's very limited, isn't he? Doesn't do a great deal in the midfield, and he might be someone you bring on for the last 10 minutes if you're seeing out a win. Let's say,
Yes.
is that warranted enough to take him? Maybe it is. And we'll have to see in a minute if we've got some spots left on the plane. Do we take him?
Yes. 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 Totally
Moving
agree.
on to attacking options, there are some attacking midfielders here. They kind of blur into wingers and strikers. So more into the forwards now. Xabi Simons, is he like a starting 11, number 10? Is he someone you bring off the bench? Maybe flitting between the two. What do you
Yeah.
think?
He's been doing great with his club, but with Orania, I think it's all about mentality. It's a mental problem, you know.
It is, isn't
Not
it? It's like confidence.
Yes, he needs confidence with Orania, but I think Koeman depends on him a lot. He's a very good player, a world class, actually, in my opinion.
Mm.
So I would say maybe starting 11.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'll put him in
Ye-
there for now because we can always review this. But like
Yes,
that's
okay.
where like I'm hesitant because he's trying too hard sometimes. But Kimman really does like him. As fans, we'll enjoy watching him. It depends too whether you want to go with wingers in your system or whether you're going to
Yes,
go quite narrow and use the wing backs. So if we assume we're playing a 5-5-3-2 and Simons is in the middle of that, then yeah, he's at number 10 and he starts. But people in a live stream comments has recently said, I think it's time to drop him. Not like from the squad completely, but from the starting 11 and maybe bring him back as an impact sub. And I can agree with that too. But for now, I'll put him in starting 11 as I don't know who else you put in the number 10, maybe other than Cody Gakpo. If we go back to putting him in there, where he has played for the Netherlands in the past. The next option, though, on here is Noah Long. And for me, I think he goes to the Euros, and I think he's an alternative option.
well, I think he's the best attacker we have nowadays and the best winger we have
Really?
nowadays. Oh, yes,
Best
we've
winger,
seen.
yeah, but we're not quite playing with wingers, I don't think.
Yeah, that's the problem. But we both know that we will play 5-3-2 and sometimes, and we will play 4-3-3
Yeah.
some other times. So I would say, yeah, if we consider a 5-3-2, then he's an alternative option because usually we're going to start with 5-3-2 and then we might
Mm,
switch to 4-3-3 depending on the match. So he is an
mm.
alternative option. Yes, you're right.
I'll be shocked if he doesn't go to the Euros. I'll be shocked if he doesn't get minutes. I'll be shocked if he doesn't play at the wing at some point, like later in the game. Hopefully not, of course, because it would mean the Netherlands are winning quite comfortably in games. But we all know that that's going to be an option at some point that he's used. When he's fit again for PSV, he'll be going on to have a great season.
Yeah.
Really, great watch of a player. And as a person as well, mentally, he's like developed so much and changed and flourished. He seems quite a humble guy nowadays. Cody Gakpo had a great World
Oh,
Cup with Van
uh,
Gaal, and it got him his move, didn't it, to the Premier League? Where do you
yeah,
think?
I think he's a key player. I think he's going to be a
Mm.
starter in every match for Oranje, in my opinion. Either key player or a starting 11.
Yeah, I'm going to starting 11. I think that he's not that important at the moment. Like, he's not every single game churning it out. So that's why I want to put him in starting 11. Um, that means there's only one more spot left in that starting 11. And I know who I'm going to pick, Abdul, but I wonder whether you agree with me when we get there.
Oh, I know who's
Um,
going to pick.
Let's just wait a few more players, shall we?
Yeah.
Calvin Stengs, and he's been playing as a right winger and number 10 for final this season. Rejuvenated. He's been one of the players of 2023, you might say, getting his career back on track. Chuff for
At
him,
the mo-
actually. So I
yes,
doubted him.
at the moment, I would say he's an alternative option. At the
Mm.
moment, I
Yeah,
would not say he's a backup. I think he should go to Europe, really.
yeah, I agree. So how about Steven Bergwijn, Ajax captain?
Uh, that's a tricky one. You know, Bergfine, we all know he's a good player, but sometimes he's up, sometimes he's down. The team is not really doing very well. I'm speaking about Ajax. He's struggling there as well, but he does play good some other times. He's
I fully
definitely
agree
not,
with all
not
this, by the way. Like, 100% agree with you with what you're saying so far.
yeah, he's not a key player. He's not starting 11, definitely. I would say alternative option, Michael. Do you
I want
agree?
to put him in backup. No, I disagree there because all the things that you've just said, he was a key player at one point for Koeman in the way he played. I think he might end up going to the Euros, but I now want to put him in a backup.
Okay,
Okay, let's do that. And then another Ajax player, Steven Berghuis.
backup.
I want to say drop.
I would love to drop him, but because I know he's gonna go. If you want to drop him, please do so.
I want to put him in drop for now because that's where my opinion sits with him. I don't think he's
Well,
good enough at the minute for what we're trying to do.
if you're the coach, I would thank you for that. So
No, man, this is our opinion. Let's stick with our guns on that one. And maybe people in the
yeah,
comments, if they disagree with us, they can let us know. How about Memphis Depay then? This is one we've been waiting for.
yeah.
Our
Well,
opinions differ on him massively. I think he's a key player, and when he's back fit, because we've not seen him play for Netherlands for a while, Koeman will get the best out of him. He has for so long. Whenever he's played under Koeman, we've had goals. He's the top goal scorer for the country in their history. I just think that when he's back, he's going to be important.
yes. Logically speaking, he will be a key player. But I wonder he's been injured for a long time now, and he's been a sub. He's not even a starter with Atletico Madrid. So, do you think Koeman will use him as a starter as well? I don't know. That's kind of tricky, but he is a key player on Orania, so let's just pick him as a key player. Yeah.
The only thing is, there is a striker coming up in a minute. A couple, actually, but there's one coming up in a minute where I'm like, this is the only one that could dethrone Memphis. And if I put Memphis in alternative option, then maybe we can promote one of the strikers in a minute. Because I've just lauded him and said he's brilliant, but I think there's one other option that might just change our minds. So I'll go with him in alternative option for now. For now, we will change
Okay.
this.
Okay.
And then it's about Weghorst time.
Again, Koeman uses him as a starter,
Yep.
even when he plays 5-3-2. But if it's my opinion, I would say alternative option.
I agree. I think he should go to the Euros. He deserves it. He's an
Yeah,
absolute
he deserves it. Yes, yes, definitely.
workhorse up front. It does give an alternative option. Yeah, that's why he should go. So the player that I want to talk about is Joshua Zirkzee. He's a striker for Bologna. We have mentioned him a couple of times on our podcast, and we can see that he's scoring goals in Italy. He's leading their Champions League push. And that's why I'm thinking, well, if this were a striker, say playing for PSV, would he probably have scored 20 goals by now? Yeah, like Jimenez and Pavlidis. If he were playing in the Premier League and he was playing for a team top 4, top 5 and scoring goals, yes, he would be in our starting 11, wouldn't he, for the Netherlands? But because we've not seen him enough yet, like that's why our confidence isn't there for Zirkzee. But he's sort of turned his career around from going from like a brilliant talent of the future to being someone who was falling off track a little bit, not getting games at Bayern Munich. And now it's the opposite again. And he could be the striker we've been looking for years.
Yes, but considering that we only have two friendlies to play before the Euro starts, I don't think he should be alternative option. I think he's a backup only or a future
Wow.
talent. Yeah, we do have so many attackers. Logically speaking, again, I don't think he should be selected really.
That is such an interesting comment there, Abdul. I wonder how people think about him in the comments again. I think that's a great debate to be had. I will put him in backup because I think he is a
He
future
is a
talent.
backup. Yes,
But
yes,
it's like,
definitely.
do you know when it's sort of at this point right now, if you had to select the squad, I don't think he would go. But in the next cycle, should it be Koeman that's still there, like for the next World Cup, it all sort of resets for all the players, isn't it? And he could be someone that does become the starting striker. But for now, we have to stick with what we've got, what we know, and I would agree with
Exactly.
that.
And not to
So,
forget that the World Cup qualifiers will gonna start in the beginning of next year, by the way. So we do have a year for some players to develop, and he could be one of them. So yeah,
yeah, yeah, okay. How about Brian Brobby then? Because I think now you've got Xerxes as a backup or future talent. Does Brobby fit into the same category for you? He has
I
been the
know.
backup option, hasn't he, in squads previously?
In my opinion, Broby is a very important player. He really all what we need for a striker to have. You know, maybe he does lack the experience to score goals, but he's very dangerous. He knows how to control the ball. He knows how to keep the ball with him. I would say he's gonna be an alternative option.
So you'll put him ahead of Xerxes at the minute because he has been experienced in the squads before. You think he's got the game as well for it. I think
Yes.
he's on par with Xerxes, but it's just weird that you're putting one as a lesser option and one as a more likely option. And maybe you're
Um,
doing it because you think what Kuma might do. So that's just really
and
interesting there.
Oh, yeah, sure. I will explain my opinion because I think Ajax is completely depending on Broby right now.
Mm.
Sorry,
Well, he's got the
Ajax.
hold up play, hasn't he? And you could say that he's missed chances, but his overall game and work ethic has been there, hasn't it?
Yes, he's been working very hard with Ajax. Even the days when they lost so many matches, he was very important. And even in the European competitions, he did play very well with Ajax. Xerxes, I think he needs some time to prove himself more.
Okay. I'll put Robbie in as an alternative option. And we've got
But
a few strikers left.
do you agree with me, Michael?
I do, yeah, I do. I think that he could do with a good second half of the season, and then that would really cement his position going to the Euros. But we're just not
Okay.
quite there yet. So we're talking about that, thinking ahead, predicting that he'll have that good second half of the season. I think he will. So that's why I'm going to keep him there. So then we get on to Thijs Terlinga. Backup option.
Backup, definitely yes,
Yeah, let's do that.
yes.
Vincent Janssen.
Drop, please.
Yeah, let's do that. A player of the
Yes.
past rather than the future. Daniel Marlin is the last player.
Well, he lost his position with Dortmund. He was a starter for some time, but then he lost his position
And
with
not really proven
Oranje.
himself with the Netherlands, has he really?
No, and that's what I was gonna say. With Oranje, he also declined big time. But I would say a backup. I would not really drop him for now. I would
Yeah,
say backup. Yeah.
agree. Okay, let's see him back in. And maybe one more. How's that looking?
Yeah, it's fine. Now I can see 4, 2, 4. That's 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. Wow.
24. Well, first of
Wow.
all, let's move Memphis up one.
Okay.
So that's our starting 11 there, isn't it? At the top.
Yes.
We've got like a settled 11 there. Maybe we can see that in the next two friendlies that are coming up in March. Then we wanted to drop someone. We got to keep the three goalkeepers.
Yeah.
But then,
Uh,
what position has too many players there?
well, that's
People right now are shouting at their screens, aren't they? There's someone really obvious. But I think, you
yeah.
need Frimpong as a backup fullback. We
Oh
haven't
yeah,
even got a backup
definitely.
left back other than Ake. Van der Ven, you need a centre back option. De Ligt and Botman. Is it Botman that drops out? But I think if you're playing five defenders, you're going to need an extra centre back, so he should stay. Then in midfield, is it here maybe? We've got Vifa, Veerman, Koopmeiners, Stengs is the backup number 10. Wow, this is tricky.
It's very difficult, to be honest. Of course, after the goal, we have to keep the goalkeepers. De Ligt is important, no matter what. He's a very important player for Oranje. Koopmeiners, Noah Lang, Stings, Weghorst, Broby. That's difficult, man.
We're assuming that there's no injuries too. Like there could be players that drop out because of that, and the things we're not predicting yet. But that would help, I guess, make that decision for us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Weaver, I know he's important as well. Is it between Weaver and Veerman?
I think it is, and maybe
Yeah.
Botman.
Or yeah, maybe also Botman. Yeah, we do have so many defenders, so Botman could also be dropped.
Do you know? I feel like we could just end this right here and say that's it. we've decided, and that's it. It's not up to us to make the final decision. But I think if we're trying to do the job of Koeman here, like, and at the end of the day, there are enough defenders just about without Botman. There are just about enough midfielders. I think it's going to be there because if you've got two central midfielders and two as backup, that means you can drop one of those three.
Would you drop Schouten?
Southampton isn't in our squad at the moment, so I think it's going to be Vifa, Veerman, or Koopmeiners.
Wait, Schouten is in the backup, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I got mixed up. Yeah.
I think it's going to be Vifa or Veerman. I personally would want to not select Koopmeiners, but being left-footed, that might make a difference to Koeman. And we're assuming as well that David Blind isn't selected, so hopefully not. And then we can have this luxury problem. Wow. I think that I would drop Vifa.
Oh, you would drop Vifa.
But this is hard.
It's hard, yeah. I don't have the heart to say drop him. Really, you know. I want him to stay. I think he's such a good player, even with Oranje.
Because you got to ask yourself, who would you be happy to play instead of Frenkie, and who would you be happy to play instead of Reinders, or maybe even play next to De Jong? And I think Veerman brings a creativity. Vifa's is a more defensive option, but so is Koopmeiners.
Yeah, so you should drop one of them, and definitely Koopmeiners should stay. He's more experienced than Weaver.
Okay, well, so let's make that gut wrenching decision.
I guess so. Yeah, I don't have the heart to do it, but I guess we have to after all.
We have to. Okay, well, that's that. That was fun. I'm going to leave that on screen just a minute. And Abdul, so looking ahead then to the tournament, the Euros, we've enjoyed like ranking the players there, selecting our starting 11. Do you think there's a chance still for someone to make that like late run and get into that starting 11, or do you think this is pretty much it now? We've made it. It wasn't too hard to decide the starting 11 even. So is that how settled this is now?
It wasn't too hard, but some players might come back and prove themselves again quickly, like Timber, for example, you know?
Yeah, Timber's a good one. And I still think Quentin Timber could be a midfield option.
Yes.
I think Van Hekkers, in my opinion, could get in ahead of Botman. We all know that Dave Blind might find a way into the squad. But, you know, there will be like reserve options for sure. So like if there's say 26 selected and it's whittled down to 23.
Even Gravenberg could be an option. Who knows what will happen in the 6 months, you know?
Totally. Yeah, still time to go in the season. Well, Abdul, thanks for joining me in this. And we're looking forward to a great 2024, aren't we, as Netherlands fans, with tournament ahead. Anything else to share?
Well, I think we did a good job here. Okay, so the 23 players. We dropped some players that I think Koeman would pick, like Geertruida, for example, Blind. But that's going to be at the expenses of some other players that we think they really should be playing for Oranje. But I think what we did was good, really. All the players we picked, I don't think the fans will disagree with us on picking them.
Sure. Can I just say, of course, to anyone watching still, give us a like if you enjoyed this show that we did here of ranking the Netherlands players. I'll leave a link in the description on YouTube so you can give it a go yourself if you so wish. Of course, get involved in the comments. Last time we had like upwards of 60 comments, people giving their opinions. So we want the same thing again. with you sharing who you would select, who you wouldn't select, anyone you really disagree with us there on. It was good to have a two of us do it this time so we could bat off each other. And of course, subscribe to Football-Oranje if you are new. There is the website. Go and check out what we've got over there. We'll put on lots more content over the coming months before the next games. Of course, we're previewing the Euros tournament itself. We've got the friendlies in March. Lots of things with Dutch clubs, the Eredivisie, the Nations League draws next month. So plenty more from Football-Oranje. Stay tuned to us. And thanks on for watching.